On June 23, 1985, a catastrophic event unfolded in the skies, marking one of the deadliest and most haunting moments in aviation history. Air India Flight 182, a Boeing 747, was on a routine journey from Toronto, Canada, to New Delhi, India, with a stopover in Montreal. Tragically, this journey would end in disaster. At 8:13 a.m. UTC, as the aircraft cruised over the Atlantic Ocean at an altitude of 31,000 feet, an explosion ripped through the plane. The bomb, planted in the cargo hold, detonated with such force that it tore the aircraft apart. Debris from the wreckage rained down over the ocean, scattering the bodies of 329 innocent souls on board. The passengers on board were a mix of tourists, business travelers, and families returning home, their lives tragically cut short in an instant. None of them could have known that their plane, which had taken off from Toronto's Pearson International Airport, would never reach its destination. The explosion caused the plane to disintegrate mid-air, and the wreckage of the doomed flight was scattered over a wide area, making the search and recovery efforts extremely difficult. For days, search teams scoured the waters, finding only pieces of the aircraft and some of its passengers, unable to retrieve everyone or the full extent of the destruction. As the investigation began, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary accident. This was an act of terrorism. It was soon discovered that the explosion had been caused by a bomb placed in the checked luggage of a passenger, and it was later determined that Sikh separatists were responsible. The bombing was part of a series of retaliatory attacks carried out by a militant group that sought to create an independent Sikh state, Khalistan. The tragic event was not just the result of a random terrorist attack but a deeply political statement. The bombing had been carefully timed, and the intention was to cause the most damage possible, knowing that a commercial flight would have a large number of passengers. The bombing was linked to a series of militant activities connected to the Khalistan movement, a separatist group advocating for an independent Sikh state in India. The attackers had planned the bombing for months, and their goal was clear: to make a global statement by striking a civilian target. The horrific aftermath of the bombing left a lasting scar on the world, and its political implications stretched far beyond the immediate tragedy. Families of the victims, many of whom were of Indian origin, were left in mourning, searching for answers in the midst of a complex web of political and militant conflicts. Despite years of investigation, the exact identities and motivations of the perpetrators remain unclear. Some suspects were arrested and tried, but questions about the involvement of different intelligence agencies and the lack of airport security at the time lingered. The Canadian authorities and the Indian government both came under scrutiny for their handling of the investigation, and the international community was left grappling with the horrors of the attack. The bombing of Air India Flight 182 was a stark reminder of the dangerous realities of terrorism and the lengths to which extremists would go to achieve their goals. In the years following the bombing, efforts were made to improve aviation security worldwide. The incident underscored the need for stronger checks on luggage, especially when it came to international flights, and led to new policies designed to protect innocent passengers from future attacks. The world of aviation changed forever in the wake of the Air India Flight 182 disaster, with heightened security measures becoming a standard part of air travel. For the families of the victims, however, the changes could never erase the pain of their loss. The loss of so many innocent lives that day is a tragedy that continues to resonate with the survivors and the families who were left behind. It's a reminder of the innocent people who suffer because of larger geopolitical struggles. In addition to the immense emotional toll, the event spurred a broader conversation about terrorism, security, and the vulnerability of air travel. The bombing of Air India Flight 182 was more than just a tragedy. It was a turning point in the fight against international terrorism and a tragic moment in the history of aviation. As time passes, the memory of this terrible event remains alive in the hearts of those who lost loved ones on that fateful flight. The world continues to reflect on the legacy of the bombing, understanding that it was not just an isolated act of violence but part of a larger, ongoing global struggle. And so, the story of Air India Flight 182 remains a somber one. A powerful reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present need to address the root causes of terrorism and violence in our world. If you like our video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We bring you more stories like this, shedding light on real-life incidents that have impacted the world. Your support helps us continue to share these important stories.